You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javanokelo, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Thank you so much for joining me for another incredible conversation here in the African Father in America podcast. I am really excited to be back with this is episode 318, and we took a long break, and I'm so excited that we are not only back, but we are back with a really special guest. My guest today is a wonderful athlete, Gloria Andrea, who is going to be, chatting with us. This is the first show of 2023. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday celebration and that you took good care of yourself. I want to welcome everyone who is joining us on Clubhouse. We are live streaming on YouTube, and I want to encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't, and also make sure you like and comment on today's video so that we can know what you're thinking. But also, it's important, YouTube algorithm values comments and likes, so that's one of the ways that you can support this incredible show. So today, as usual, we are here with another amazing African proverb, and our proverb today comes all the way from Namibia. And what the proverb says is that look at your child to see his questions before he asks them. Look at your child to see his questions before he asks them. That is our proverb for today. And I'm a parent, and as many parents who are probably watching this know, it's always difficult to read your children unless you take time to observe your children and really understand what they're trying to communicate to you. Sometimes they don't even have to tell you something. You just have to see their behavior. You just have to see how they're answering you. And with that, whether they are eating or not, whether they are sleeping well or not, you can just tell by observation, And this proverb is reminding us the value of, as parents, why it's important to be observant of our children and to be proactive in listening to them in a way that we know their needs before it's too late. The other day I was watching a BBC documentary about why Kenyan high school students are burning schools. Over the last 10 years, there has been a huge increase in the number of schools that are being burned down by high school children. And they were talking about why they do this. And a lot of it is in this proverb. A lot of the answers are found in this proverb. And one of the things that some of these students were saying is that they want somebody to listen. They want their parents to listen. They want their teachers to listen. And, I want you to take this proverb and also take that as an example of really what this proverb is saying. But I want to quickly share with you 3 nuggets of wisdom. And then after that, we are going to listen to Gloria's own interpretation of this proverb. And then after that, you will be able to learn a little more about Gloria's story. What is it that came from her childhood that inspires the athleticism that she has now. And Gloria is an award-winning athlete, so we are going to learn a lot about her her story in that regard. And then towards the end of the show, we are going to create space for Gloria to share with us how you can all support her. And of course, we want to invite you to join us on the stage whenever you have a moment, so that you can also contribute your own perspectives to today's conversation. So, Gloria, before I go too far, I just want you to go ahead and say hello, and then after that, I'll share the 3 nuggets of wisdom and give you space to talk about today's proverb briefly. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for having me on this platform, Brother Simon. I think it's a great way for me to kickstart my new year, and what's a better way than sharing. That's kind of been one of my biggest challenges, being at the front of cameras and just speaking openly, and it has a lot to do with my background and upbringing, but we'll get into that maybe in another topic day. But my name is Gloria Andrea, and I currently live in Seattle, Washington. I am a amateur level bodybuilder and pursuing, my career in bodybuilder to become an elite athlete. So that is what's in the store for me in this next year. So we're already in 2023. So I have a couple of shows already picked and ready to go. And yeah, that's where I'm at as an athlete right now.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you again, Gloria, for making the time. For those who are, listening in on Clubhouse, I just pinned the link to the YouTube live stream at the top of the room so that you can join us on YouTube. And remember again to like, comment, and share today's video. Now, when you think about this proverb, and again, I can't wait to hear more about your story, Gloria. There's just so much that goes into the work of being a bodybuilder, and also in the midst of that, still being an African immigrant living in Seattle. So there are so many layers, and you have to really fight against so many things in order for you to be successful. So I really I'm proud of you, and I want to talk more in a moment. But for the three nuggets of wisdom, here they are. And these are inspired by this Namibian proverb. The proverb says that look at your child to see his questions before he asks them. The first nugget of wisdom says that pay attention to your child in order to anticipate potential issues before they arise. Don't wait until you can't control your child. There's an elder here in the African community in Seattle that always tells me that raise your child when they're raisable. So this is exactly what this proverb is telling us. Always anticipate issues before they come up. And then number two, create an environment that fosters curiosity and encourages exploration. This is hard. Sometimes as a parent, I feel like I can become very boring. We can have a very set routine, and I run out of ideas. So sometimes you could even ask your own children, what is it that they want to do? What ideas do they have? What stories do they want to explore? They are very smart. And then number three, remember that effective parenting often involves listening and providing support rather than offering direct answers, And this is also where our African proverbs go a long way, I remember my mother, she never used to give me direct answers. She used to answer in African proverbs, and that allows you to think, And that's why I value bringing the African proverbs here as part of the show. And, since 2020, we've been sharing these beautiful African proverbs every day. And I encourage you to go back and look at some of the previous episodes and explore some of the content that we have across social media in order for you to get some of the nuggets. But the beautiful thing is the whole month of January, we are going to be sharing proverbs that are related to parenting and just how can you support your children through ancestral wisdom from our African ancestors. So now that I've shared these three nuggets of wisdom, I want to go deeper into my conversation with Gloria Andrea, who is here with me in a very early morning conversation. It's beautiful that we are up and ready, January 2nd, So
Yes,
Gloria,
indeed.
when you think about this proverb yourself, the Namibian proverb that says, look at your child to see his questions before he asks them, what is it that comes to your mind? Talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, it's a say that really made me like think really deeply, I'm not a parent, so I don't have the I guess broad experience and understanding of parenting. However, being raised with a single parent, we had to kind of chip in at a really early age and help out. We have a big gap between my younger siblings, so I feel like I started parenting, co-parenting at a very early age, helping my mom, while she goes out there and work and make sure that we have a roof on top of our head and have food at the end of the day. But I think the say it's something that I think a lot of African parents, and that's just speaking from what I am privy to. I think some have struggled with, and this is what I'm saying. The way we're brought up, as a child, there's certain things you don't question or doubt when you're told. So a lot of times that kind of raises fear to speak up openly or bring up maybe topics that you don't necessarily feel comfortable or encouraged to discuss. So kind of like fear, sometimes when you notice your child, well, for my example is my siblings, when they do something that they're already told not to do, you notice there's a fear before they start to speak. So I feel like when you kind of pay attention to the body language, you see that if they feel safe and confident to like approach, or if they feel discouraged and maybe afraid. And I think if you pay attention to that, you're able to kind of draw or cancel out. If it's the fear, cancel the fear out. And if they're, excited, kind of encourage the excitement and, make it a safe space. That's really what it is in the end of the day is making them feel safe to continue with whatever it is in their mind. I think that's what that means to me.
That's beautiful. I agree. I agree. Creating a
Yeah.
safe space is, I feel that it's not just important for children, but even for us as adults, even even couples, partners in relationships, it's always important to create an environment where people want to engage with you. And with
Yes.
children, it's even more important because uh, once they have an experience where they don't feel safe, they can't speak up, they can't engage. So I really appreciate your contributions. Now, I want to go even further, Gloria, and now explore your own story. When people see successful athletes like yourself, they don't really go back into where did Gloria start this journey, and what is it that drives Gloria to continue doing this incredible work. It's hard. It's hard to be disciplined, work out consistently, get the right diet, get the right people around you that will encourage you to continue pursuing your dreams. So I want you to go back and share with us a story from your childhood uh, that really inspires who you are today. When you look back every day before you hit the gym, what is it that comes up for you that that just keeps you smiling and keeps you working hard and keeps you reminding yourself that this is the path that I need to keep taking?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's 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 funny you say that because it's as simple as a lot of athletes make it seem. It definitely takes a lot to pursue these type of dreams and goals, and especially when you're past certain age bracket. So just to kind of put it out there, I'm not a spring chicken. I'm on my, late 30s. So I am starting this journey a little bit later than most athletes. But that's kind of like, I think the advantages for me as an athlete. So um, a little bit of kind of like a child's story that continues to inspire me is that there was one point, so, growing up in South Sudan, as most of you guys may know, there's always been, civil war there. So it's not the most, the best country out there. And there's always been struggles, and my people faced a lot of struggles that they still continue to face till this day. So my mom kind of had a pretty good life, but also she had a pretty hard ones, and we've endured all of it. So one of the moments that always stick with me is one of the hard moments, and it might seem hard to a lot of people, but honestly, I think that was the most joyful childhood memories that I have. And that's when we had nothing. There was a one point my mom lost her job, or the financial income that was coming in, and we found ourselves pretty much dirt poor to a point where we don't even have food to eat, where we have to go ask neighbors for food scraps to kind of like make up things to eat. And some of those nights, the neighbors didn't have the scraps to give us. So we had to go to bed without food. But what I remember from those days is that my mom, will find a way to come up with the scraps. And if she doesn't find those scraps, we always have some sort of like a entertainment, like playing Luda. I don't know if a lot of people familiar with Luda, like the snake, the snake hits, and like little hand games and stuff like that. And she would just kind of open it. She would just kind of open it and, just have us start to play, and we will all play together. And that kind of made us forget the hunger or the struggle, but it was really just a little memory of it. But that's the one thing that I always hold into when I am having toughest time going through, the hardest part of prepping is when you get ready for the competition, which is pretty much the diet for me. The training, I love that part. You have to make me not train. As far as eating, though, that's something that I've definitely struggled with. And when I'm going through those tough times, I just remember those days where we had no food, and I was happy and I had no problem. So it kind of reinforced me to stick to my diet and keep pushing through. So that's one of the stories that I'm not afraid of poverty. I'm not afraid of hunger because I lived through it, and that was some of the happiest times. So when dieting gets tough for me during my competition prep, that's what I think about, and that's what pushes me forward.
Yeah, that's really incredible. It's amazing where people come from, and here in Seattle, when you look at how people waste food, sometimes it drives you nuts. Actually, even me myself, sometimes I know that I'm wasting,
Yeah,
but I also
yeah.
know where I came from, and I just got so moved by your story of how you had to go to neighbors to ask for leftovers, and sometimes they didn't have any. And was this in Juba, or where in South Sudan was this?
That was in Juba. Yes, that was in
Oh,
Juba. Yes.
wow, wow.
Yes,
And
yes,
what
yes.
year was this? Can you remember?
I cannot remember the exact year, and
Yeah,
I didn't have the conversation with my mom, but I wanted to get more details on that. But I think I want to say I was maybe between 8 to 10, around that age,
right, right,
when that happened.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. And I just want to thank you for living through that and for being who you are now, and not taking those years as a pity, but using them as inspiration, using them as inspiration to prepare for your competition. That's really amazing.
Absolutely.
Now,
Thank
for
you.
those who are just joining us, my guest is Gloria Andrea, who is an amazing award winning athlete, originally from South Sudan, but Gloria lives here in Seattle, Washington, where I am as well. And we've talked about so many incredible things. We've also shared the 3 nuggets of wisdom. And right now, we are learning a little more about Gloria's story. Now, Gloria, can you just go deeper into the kind of sports that you do? You know, you are a bodybuilder, a bikini bodybuilder. I want you to just talk about why this is the path that you chose, and then, you know, share with us how a little more about what it really is like. You know, what are the challenges, but also what are some of the most glorious moments, because I've seen you, you know, winning several awards actually. So I want you to talk about that. And then, you know, I am also in my late 30s, you know, and so I want you to talk about the value of staying fit as you are aging, you know, because that is also an award in itself. So
Yes.
carry on.
Yes. Well, thank you for that question. It always amazes me how I stumbled up on this and, turning it into my, turn it into my passion. And now it's like a dream to be like top competitors in the world. But a little bit about my fitness journey. Believe it or not, I used the word fitness and hate in the same sentence at one point in my life. I was totally against it. And part of it is because I didn't understand fitness. I was actually introduced to fitness at my early teen age when I was dating this guy that was in college, and I was new in Africa, and in America. And I it was college things, staying fit and stuff like that, and I didn't understand it. So it kind of turned me off because he would do like this boot camp routine, and here I am, an athletic person that could barely run a mile, and you want me doing these drills. That totally shut me down, and I abandoned fitness for years up until my early 30s. That's when I started to reflect. I was doing a lot of soul searching, and I've chosen a couple of paths that I was not proud of, and I kind of, started to see, YouTube's and Instagram, people using fitness as a therapy and all of that. I was like, oh, maybe all I need to do is lose 10 pounds. That's the lie I told myself. So I was like, okay, let's start going to a gym and lose the 10 pounds. And as I started going to the gym, I realized I got bigger fish to fry. I was completely out of shape. I could barely do a mile on a treadmill. And that's where the epiphany started to happen. I broke down a couple of times in the treadmill, just crying because of, a lot of it is just, what's the word I want to use? It was disappointment. I was disappointed at myself for letting myself go and allowing myself to waste all my precious 20s, getting unhealthy and focusing on the wrong things. So my shifts change, and that epiphany that I really had that changed me was admitting that I was weak, you know.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's okay. It's okay. It's that such kind of that's courageous. You know, what you had to do took a lot of courage, um, and I think many people don't accept that kind of responsibility, you know, because once you take responsibility, then you take
Exactly.
action, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think this would happen. Sorry, I didn't bring a tissue or anything. So here I am. So I took the accountability that I was weak, and what I needed was not to lose 10 pounds, but what I needed was mental and physical strength. And that's how it started. So I started to train for mental and physical strength, and then the weight just came off to a point where I wasn't paying attention to it. And my family had to tell me, like, hey, you're going to the other end now. You're becoming too skinny. And let me mind you, I didn't understand fitness. I didn't understand nutrition, and I had pretty much no guidance. At that time, one of my good friends, she was a runner, so she always encouraged me to become a runner. And I think she was recruiting a running partner too, so she thought I would be the one. But um, although I was doing running, that's kind of how I started to build the strength and the endurance I needed to, get to this stage of my life. But I quickly realized I didn't really love running. And what I loved was strength training. And one of my dear friends introduced me into, well, one of my dear friends introduced me to a supplement store, a local supplement store, and one of her friends at the time was working at the supplement store, and she is a bikini competitor as well. So she had a show coming up, and they were kind of like complimenting me with how far I've made it through my journey. And they're like, oh, you should compete. You have the physique, you have the look. And, here I am still just doubting everything. Like, what? Me? No, never. I could never. And she's like, well, come watch my show and see how you feel. So I was like, okay, let's go. So we go to Vancouver, watch the show, and it just like opened up a whole new horizon for me. And I was just like, wow, like this is so empowering, watching not just the ladies category, but also, the gentlemen's, and let me just go back real quick. Bodybuilding was something that we talked down on in my community for years, and I was always like against it and just didn't understand. Anything I didn't understand, I was against. That, like everybody, right? So here I am in just seconds, my whole mind has changed about bodybuilding, and I'm just like starstruck, And I was like, oh, this is cool. So I met someone, a friend during that time, and he was also obviously a competitor. And, we became really good friends, and I pretty much stuck to him like a glue, like, teach me, And, I would ask him for a session at the gym. He would help me at the gym, making sure I understand how to properly train the muscles and understand the concept of it and the techniques, the cues, just like anything to do it well, you kind of have to have the foundation down. So we kind of started from the foundation, building the strength, and he just kept helping me, and I was hungry to just keep learning. So that's how it came about. And then people would tell me, oh, when are you competing? And I'm just like, no, I'm not, because part of it is when I was going through the training, what one thing that I promised myself is that I would never get on the stage unprepared or half ready, right? So I didn't want to half ass it, for lack of a better word, and I wanted to go in and do some damages, right? So my first show was a small local show down here in where was Ironman? Ironman was not Leavenworth. What was it? I forgot the place, but Shelton. It's not too far from here. That was 2021, and I went in as a bikini competitor, and I did so well. I entered in three different divisions, which is like open, true novice, which is someone that never competed before. I got first place on that category. I did open. I got first place on that, and then I did masters. Masters are 35 and older. I also got first place on that. So I did that, and I did overall. So I pretty much won the whole show. which was so empowering for me and just kind of reinforce what I had already believed in my heart that I got it, and that was pretty much, the beginning of that for me. 2022, last year, I didn't really have a good competition year. There has been a lot of changes in the other aspects of my life. So career wise, before coaching, I did administration work for a dental office, and I did that for a year. So the work life culture balance just didn't match my lifestyle, and that kind of started to affect that for me. And my career ended was in that 2021, actually, as I was going through the prep, and I've kind of decided to just not go back because, like I say, just not matching what my dreams and hopes is, right? Although I am making good income from it, it's just not worth the the I guess the stress that it was bringing and adding into my plate. So I stopped doing that and just solely focusing on fitness, and that's when I started my coaching company last year. So my coaching company, I started it for women like myself and even men. I help men as well. People that I call myself late bloomer. It's people that didn't really have or don't have athleticism background. So I started pretty late. Again, my coordination and things like that are not the best, but I understand the mechanical and the techniques of bodybuilding, and that is why I created the coaching company. I see a lot of people at the gym struggle with their forms and techniques, and it just breaks my heart. And I wanted to create something for individuals that are, professional or just maybe wanted to pursue um, career in bodybuilding as well, and teach them how to properly, engage the muscle and learn how to utilize nutrition and pretty much weights and how to build lean muscle mass. That's ultimately the end goal, is building muscle. And there's also a backstory to that, why it's important to me. But yeah, sorry,
Beautiful.
I know that was kind of a lot.
No, no, no. It's I asked you a lot of questions, and
Yeah.
you answered it perfectly. I want to welcome everyone who is joining us on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is our first show of 2023, and also our first show in about a month. So thank you to everyone also who is listening in on Clubhouse. If you haven't subscribed to the channel on YouTube, please do so. Give this video a thumbs up, and also comment. Let us know what you think about my conversation with Gloria Andrea, who is South Sudanese living here in Seattle and is an award-winning athlete, and just sharing with us her story and really, really inspiring us today. I want to give space to just two people who are on stage to also share their perspectives just briefly before we begin wrapping up our show today. So I'll bring on Stella, who is part of my team. Stella, briefly share with us where you're joining us from and what your thoughts are in regards to today's proverb or Gloria's story. Thank you so much.
Hello, Simon. Hello, everyone. Happy New Year 2023. I'm so excited to be here today. We took a break and I really missed this show. Um, I really appreciate what Gloria has been talking about on fitness, nutrition, and everything. I really love your story, Gloria. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Moving on to today's proverb, which talks about your child's questions. Look at a child to see his questions before he asks them. And this proverb, it reminds me a lot of my childhood growing up because most of the time when you had done something wrong, and something cheeky that we loved doing was leaking sugar. And so sometimes you would be caught unawares, and you were trying to deny that you were not leaking sugar, yet there was a lot of evidence all over. It could show in your eyes. And my mom, she just knew it even without asking. Like, she would just tell you you were leaking sugar, while you thought that you had hidden all the evidence. Yeah, so I think our parents know us so well. And sometimes, even when you're an adult, they tell you some of the things you used to do as a child, and you try to relate with some of the things you've done as an adult, and you realize that they know you so well. And I think when this proverb was being designed or created or something, these ancestors had mastered the art of learning their children and their great grandchildren and everyone in their generation. So it's a beautiful one, and it really reminds me a lot of my childhood. Thank you.
You're most welcome, Stella. Now I'll come back to you, Gloria, in a moment so that you can share with us just you'll wrap up what Stella and Brother Earth are going to say. So, Brother Earth, go ahead and share with us also where you're joining us from and your perspective on the proverb, as well as a comment if you have one in regards to Gloria's story.
Peace and love, family. Brother Earth. Greetings. So glad to be back in the village amongst the family, sharing the knowledge of the ancestors and sucking up some of this good positive vibrations. And as far as the conversation is concerned, I think it's very powerful and inspiring. How her whole story uh, showed when she took accountability for her life or accountability for her actions, she was able to change her whole life around. You know what I mean? And that's just to show anybody, uh, when you set something in your heart and you go for it, you know what I mean? It's up to you to achieve it. And you know, keep up the good work what she's doing. And as far as the proverb goes, look at your children to see his questions before he asks them. And what it made me automatically think about it in Morris Holy Quran, is one of the chapters called the Holy Instructions for Thy Children. And I'm going to read a little bit of it. It says, consider thou art a parent, the importance of thy trust. The being thou hast produced, it is thy duty to support. It said, upon thee also dependeth whether the child of thy bosom be a blessing or a curse to thyself, a useful or a worthless member to the community. Prepare him early with instructions, season his mind with the maximum of truth. And then here, this is where it reminds me of a proverb. It says, watch the bend of his inclinations, set him right in his youth. Let no evil habits gain strength with his years. And what being a parent also, and how I would tie that all together is, I'm constantly asking my daughter questions. Like you said, to see where her understanding is, see where she's lacking, and see where, what her preference is. And when I see or find that she's preferring things that's gonna bring her negativity, or it's not gonna be beneficial to her in the long run, I try to let her know that you don't want to put too much time and energy in that direction. And then whenever I see her putting her time and energy towards something that's gonna be positive or benefit her in the long run, I try to guide her or boost her or uplift her in whatever she's doing. But like you said, is you have to be constantly watching and asking them we get an understanding where they coming from. And I'm a partner playing right there. Brother Earth, peace and love, fam.
Peace and love to you, brother. Thank you very much for your contribution and for joining us, for this first edition of the show. For those who are joining us on YouTube, thank you so much. Again, make sure you like, comment, and share this video. It goes a long way. I want to bring back Gloria, who is my special guest today, so that Gloria can just recap everything that Stella and Brother Earth shared with us. And then Gloria, after that, tell us how we can support you, how we can stay connected with you. And I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you so much. And I mean, both of their opinion in this matter, I think it definitely just nailed the coffin in the head, for better say, Americans say. I think you even mentioned this earlier. I think even with adults, and it's not just children, it's just to be mindful of creating that safe space and, allowing people to express themselves. And that's actually something that, I'm really working hard on, especially as also a new coach. As an athlete, I also started my coaching business to help those at their early stage to, better help them understand nutrition and fitness and how, how they go hand to hand and, how important it is to do both at the same time. But I think as long as we continue to create those safe space for our communities, our friends, our lovers, our children, I think we'll be in a way better space to share and to progress in this world. And I think that's all what we want to do is just progress, and be better for ourselves, our communities, and our families. And as long as we support each other while we're trying to do that, things will work out just fine. So my services is here to support. Again, so feel free to reach me. My Instagram handle, which is Glow Then, Glorious Now. And I'm sure Brother Simon will post that, add that somewhere there. Or you can feel free to email me also at coaching@fitbyglow.com. But I think it's time that everyone start to prioritize their health prior to anything else. Because just remember, if you're not healthy and you're not well, you're not going to be in shape to take care of your loved ones, take care of your community, and take care, most importantly, yourself. So prioritize the right things. Six-figure case, great, but trust me, that won't get you too far if you don't have your health with you. I've been there, done that. So just think about that. It's important to build generation wealth, but it's more important to build generation health. So let's start that movement and let's keep going with that.
I love that. That's the best way to really begin the year. So thank you, Gloria, for being so wonderful and for following your dreams, and I'll definitely be reaching out to you because I know people that would be great clients of yours, and I can't wait to host you again so that we can continue promoting the wonderful work that you're doing. And to everyone who is watching right now, thank you again for taking your time on the very, very first weekday of the year, for joining us. We will be here until Friday, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. If you haven't liked and commented on the video, please do so as well. And also on Clubhouse, those who are listening in, Kesiwa, Rocky, Lavender, Brother Earth, and Stella, thank you so much. Remember to invite your friends and family and let people know that we are back. The show is back now, and we are going to be working even harder than before. There are resources in the description to this video that I want you to check out. There are so many things that people always, in the last few years, people have been asking, how are you producing the show? What program are you using? How are you editing the show? All those resources are in the description to this video, and you should take advantage of them now. With that, thank you again, Gloria. And I can't wait to see how you continue transforming other people's lives. This is the end of our show for today. I'm incredibly grateful. Do you have any last words?
Well, I just want to truly thank you from the bottom of my heart, for giving me the opportunity to come to your platform. And I think I, I'm always inspired by you as well. I think it's great what you're doing for the community, sharing, the important wisdom words that we sometimes forget. Some of the best say it started from our African proverbs, and ever since you started to I started following you, I started to kind of look into that a little bit more, and it brings up a lot of light bulb moments for me, like, like, things that reminds me of my childhood. So keep doing that as well, and keep inspiring, and keep bringing, newcomers like myself, and, just creating this safe space for us. So thank you for that.
Fantastic. You're welcome, Gloria. I'm deeply grateful. Take care of yourself. Have a wonderful day, and let's talk. Let's talk sometime. Let's grab let's grab a cup of coffee or a meal in the coming week so that we can strategize together. Thank you so much.
I love that. Thank you everyone for tuning in. You guys have a wonderful day. And remember, health is wealth.
I love that. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.